Board of Trustees meeting. If I could ask everyone to remove any headgear, I'd appreciate it. We'll stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's a ghost in it.
We're having some technical difficulties. Just stand by. We're good? No. You say go ahead? Okay, very good. Okay, first order of business, public hearing on introducing of local law 7 of 2023, rescinding a local law 2 of 2023. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
Carl will make that motion.
Berenger will second.
Call the question.
Berenger, aye.
Ferraro, aye.
Carl, aye.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Okay, public hearing is open. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter, please come up to the microphone, give the clerk your name, and be heard.
Hi, good evening. I'm Dawn Powder. I live in Monroe. Just a clarification, Mayor Dwyer, you just said local law 7, but your agenda states local law 4.
So, yeah, so right now, it is the introduction of local law, but when it passes, it becomes local law 4. I'm not sure 100% why, but it is local law 4.
So local law 7 no longer exists?
So we have other laws in the mix that are not going to be adopted tonight, and they were introduced as local law 4, 5, and 6. So this would have been introduced as 7, but because we haven't adopted local number 4, this will be now local law number 4, but with the title of rescinding local law 2 of 2023.
Okay, so I'm going to speak on local law 4. I'm going to talk about the water quality improvement project application that the village submitted in July of 2021 to the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. And I just want to highlight some of the questions and answers because I think I'm confused because a lot of the answers in the application contradict what's actually been happening here in the village regarding Lake Monroe. So the first question, explain what makes your project a regional economic priority. Response, and I'm not going to read the entire response, just what's applicable. The project represents a significant financial and community investment in a source of drinking water and recreation for the region. Monbassia Lake, which is adjacent to Monbassia Park, is open to the general public for swimming and fishing. As such, there is a need to preserve the quality of the lake so that the region continue to use it for recreational purposes as well. The proposed project represents an ongoing initiative by the Village of Monroe to consolidate ownership around Monbassia Lake in order to protect it as a source of recreation and potable water. Second question, does the proposed project use, maintain, or improve existing infrastructure? Yes, the proposed project is designed to help the Village of Monroe maintain an existing source of potable and recreational water for residents. 3, will the proposed project foster mixed land uses? Yes, the project is designed to protect Monbassia Lake, and the purchase of land around Monbassia Lake will help the village to protect this natural resource for potable and recreational uses. 4, will the proposed project protect, preserve, and enhance the state's resources? Yes, the acquisition of land surrounding Monbassia Lake will improve the village's ability to protect, preserve, and enhance a natural surface water resource, recreational asset, and scenic area. As stated, Monbassia Lake's primary use is to provide the Village of Monroe with potable water. The lake can also be accessed by residents for fishing and swimming as well. Monroe is known as the Lakes region as there are over 77 water bodies in the town of Monroe, with Monbassia Lake being one of the largest. The proposed project will help Monroe to maintain the status. 5, list any watersheds proposed for the protection that are specifically identified in the New York State Open Space Plan. The Ramapo River watershed is an irreplaceable regional water supply, recreational resource, and key ecosystem in the Highlands. Next set of questions deal with environmental justice areas. And for those not familiar with what they are, a neighborhood or community composed predominantly of persons of color or a substantial proportion of persons below the poverty line that is subjected to disproportionate burden of environmental hazards and or experiences a significantly reduced quality of life. Does your project incorporate environmental justice practices? Yes. There are currently 2 environmental justice areas in the village. Will any part of your project improve water quality in an environmental justice area? Yes. There are 2 environmental justice areas in the village of Monroe. Monbassia Lake provides the vast majority of potable water to the community, including residents living in these environmental justice areas. As such, the ability to further protect Monbassia Lake will have a positive impact on the drinking water of those residents living in an environmental justice area. Next, does your project advance downtown revitalization and strategic community investment? Monroe has recently replaced 600 feet of a lead-lined pipe constructed in 1894, which posed a potential health risk to those environmental justice areas in the village. The next sections are miscellaneous and enforcement related. How will the proposed project help improve water quality? The village has contended with a persistent issue of trespassing and illegal dumping. Okay. The proposed project is part of a larger initiative to consolidate ownership of properties adjacent to Monbassia Lake to ensure the protection of potable water for the village and town of Monroe. The village of Monroe owns Monbassia Lake and owns several parcels of land surrounding Monbassia Lake, which signifies the village has applicable experience in maintaining waterfront land. The village of Monroe has the requisite staff and resources to effectively manage the acquired land at Monbassia Lake. The current landowner will be allowed to remain on the premises for up to 8 years and will serve as the steward while he remains on the property. His responsibilities will solely be to monitor and report on violations. Explain how this project will contribute to a comprehensive and coordinated approach to solving water quality impairments. The village seeks to improve the water quality of Monbassia Lake and prevent illegal dumping and trespassing. Will the proposed project involve participation in community-based planning and collaboration? Yes. The acquisition of land surrounding the lake will require the collaboration of all residents. Monroe will announce the purchase of land and use this opportunity to ask for resident support in protecting Monbassia Lake for current and future use. So I'm confused because all of those questions directly speak to recreational use, fishing, swimming, boating, and yet the village is doing the exact opposite what they proposed to New York State to get the grant. There's been nothing in the minutes. I went through all the minutes from December 2020, the entire year of 2021, other than in November when Trustee Call stated, "We received the grant from the state. Merry Christmas to the village." So it seems that the grant was approved. Has it been executed yet is my question, and if not, why? And is anything that's going on now with these code changes have anything to do with the lake? My next area that I want to talk about is the deeds. There's been a lot of talk about deeds and lack of provided to the village. So I'm going to start with there's some properties around the west side of the lake that have deeded rights to the lake according to their deeds, which predate the village's acquisition of 1948. So the one deed states that along the, to the high water line of Monbassia Lake. The next one states the land under the water of Monbassia Lake from the high water mark thereof. And I think that the most compelling one is the Faber Farm, which is now owned by the town of Monroe, going back to 1921, states that the privilege of boating, fishing, bathing, and other rights which can be used or enjoyed in said Monbassia Lake in connection with the described premises. 1921. 1922, same verbiage. 1955, which is 7 years after you acquired the lake, same language from the Faber Farm deed. And the last thing that I want to speak about is to see if the village is aware of a decision that was rendered in 1966 from a question that was posed to the Honorable Anthony Barone, who was sitting in Suffern at the time. This is in reply to your letter of September 14th, 1966, and your supplementary letter of November 14th, 1966, requesting an opinion as to whether the Village of Monroe has the right to enforce the rules and regulations enacted by the State Commissioner of Health for the protection from contamination of the public water supply of the Village of Monroe, where it serves as a source of the public water supply of the Village of Monroe. Your question specifically asks if the village has the right to enforce the aforesaid rules and regulations in an area of the lake where title to the lands beneath the water is assumed to be in the abutting landowners on the lake shore. And I'm not going to read, but I'll summarize that basically it says that his opinion is, in my opinion, the Village of Monroe has no right to enforce the rules and regulations promulgated by the State Commissioner of Health for the protection of its watershed, unless the local Board of Health fails to enforce an order of the State Commissioner of Health within 10 days after its receipt. It should be further noted that the local Board of Health has the authority to order the suppression and removal of all nuisances and conditions detrimental to life and health found to exist within the health district. Clearly, this section is applicable to any nuisance affecting the public water supply in the Village of Monroe. So to summarize what the Honorable Anthony Barone said was, the village can only make a notice to the state that there's been a violation that they assume to be. The state has to then find that violation to be true, has to send that violation to the Orange County Department of Health, and then Orange County Department of Health has to determine it to be a detriment to life and health before anything can happen. But the village has no enforcement rights. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Could we get a copy of all that?
A copy of everything?
Everything? Okay, just if you want to give it to the clerk, she can make a copy of it and give it back to you? Okay, she's right here.
No, I know.
Okay. Anyone else in the public? Okay.
Okay, Allison Priest, 24 Lakeview Drive. I live on the waterfront of Lake Mombasha. This is basically to the village residents. Just want to give them some facts that the homeowners concerned for the ecosystem of Lake Mombasha. We contacted PRISM, not the village. We are not the contaminant of the lake. We're the ones that reached out for help. It is your drinking supply that we are protecting, and it is also our backyards. Our concerns after the village was presented with 17 signatures on July 12th of 2019 for help of the chestnut infestation was ignored by the village board, and we could not turn a blind eye to the chestnut invasion. PRISM came to the homeowners. Neil and John were both invited to the meeting, which was held by a homeowner. John Carl posted on social media September 21st, 2020, that he met with the property owners about the Mombasha Lake and made it seem like he was the intervention, but the facts prove it was the homeowners. Pictures and social media comments available if anybody would like to read them. We also want the village of Monroe to know that the property owners care so much about the lake and the health of the animals within that we are not the problem, we are the solution, and there has been proven to be no contamination by the residents, and to keep the residents off the lake and to keep them to have the privilege of helping hand pull these water chestnuts is not the right recommendation by PRISM. So to enact the homeowners as part of the solution is what should be executed, not the opposite. Thank you.
Anyone else in the public? Good evening.
Good evening.
Everett Bierker, 46 Water Plant Road. All right, Dawn brought, Everett Bierker, B-I-E-R-K-E-R, 46 Water Plant Road. Dawn brought up a lot of information. All right, she did allude to some deeds that we've been asked for. She alluded to them, but it's all public information. All right, it's all publicly available through FOIL requests. All right, to speak of just some enforcement things, for those of you who know me, who don't know me, all right, I have a NY number, not a CEO or a BSI number. All right, I've been in the system for 20 years, 9 years as a code enforcement official. All right, so I'm very familiar with the processes, permits, violations, and everything else. All right. A letter dated September 19th, Rob Rossborough brought up riparian rights and public use doctrine. That letter has yet to be addressed to Rob Rossborough. All right. And a letter dated October 6th from Town Attorney Nugent. Okay. None of these issues he brought up were addressed until after Local Law Number 2 was adopted. A follow-up letter from Attorney Nugent dated February 27th, after the adoption, was only addressed in a letter from March 3rd. All right. And then again, a letter dated March 27th, Attorney Nugent questioned the enforcement. All right. Now you're proposing a law where there's no such use of the lake until such time as a permit process is enacted, established. He had 40-something years to do it. I've got very little faith that it's going to be done now. All right, I hope it does, but you had 40 years to do it with the law the way it was written on the books. Now we're playing the shell game. All right, I have my local town boating permit. Okay, it's pretty simple. The first page is a checklist of requirements. All right, ownership and/or residency. Just a few high points, proof of ownership and residency, right there on the first page. We go into rules and regulations, all right? Just a few highlighted points. The craft may be launched and taken out only in places designated, okay? Swimming from any craft is not permitted. All boats are required to pass inspection. No boating by the dam. No gasoline motors permitted. Electric motors are permitted. Sounds familiar, guys? Town should reserve the right to limit the number of boats on the lake at any time, and maximum number is 50 boats, okay? It's not that hard, okay? I think we can get through this, all right? Next page is the application itself. You all can see it's pretty simple, all right? Name, address, so on and so forth. Then they have an inspection checklist, okay? Just like as any other building permit or any other kind of permit you apply for, boom, boom, boom. You go through your footing inspections, you go through your foundation inspections, you go through your slab inspections. Same thing with a boat. Is it non-gasoline powered? Is it? I'm not going to read the whole thing, okay?
Can I ask where did you say this is from?
It's from the town of Clarkstown. It's available online. I don't need to provide it to you. It's right on our website.
Okay.
I don't want to provide you my copy. I took notes. All right. Again, guys, I'm a local. I usually sit on your side of the table. All right. I know the process. We issue permits and do inspections all day, every day. It's not. We can protect the lake. There's ways to put protections in there. For instance, with how the boats need to be stored, okay? You're concerned about boats being taken into other bodies of water. Guess what? You put that in as one of your requirements that we need to have it visible from the water at all times. Guess what that limits it to? Your neighbors, us, all right? You can't go on the lake on a Tuesday and see my boat, and on Wednesday, my boat's not there. Hey, Everett, where's your boat? That's a problem, all right? All boats can be stored so they're visible by you guys and every enforcement agent on that lake. It's not, again, it's a doable process. Lastly, I've offered help to develop and implement this system. I have experience in IPS, PAS, Municity, all the systems you guys work in. I just don't want to be part of enforcement. Implementation, I'd be more than happy to volunteer my time, all right, to help whoever you have working on this, all right? And as far as in code enforcement, you know, again, is who's got their certifications to do that? Okay, we're getting very close to extraterritorial police powers, all right, which I know the town has brought up, all right, because they're leaving, you know, the village, you know, established village to go and enforce that. That's a very scary practice, all right, and it's
I'm sorry.
extraterritorial
I'm losing you.
police powers.
And what are you referring to?
Okay, so extraterritorial police powers usually refer to an officer when he has a take-home vehicle, okay? And
You mean a
what he-
code enforcement officer?
No.
Police officer.
Well,
Okay.
law enforcement.
All right.
Law enforcement, okay?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I enforce laws and codes, but I don't
No,
consider
I'm
myself a
trying
law
to
enforcement
understand what you're
officer like
saying
a
there,
police
but
officer.
you're way
Right.
past my pay
Well-
grade.
But again, they're leaving the village of Monroe to come through the town to go to another property in the town, okay? One, who's entitled to do that? Okay, are the police entitled to do that? Possibly. State police? Possibly. Maybe even the sheriff might have to. Who knows? But extraterritorial police enforcement is a very, very interesting thing, okay?
Okay.
And again, usually refers to police officers that leave their jurisdictions with their vehicles and when they have to pursue somebody outside of their jurisdiction.
And you're referring to this in what capacity? Are you talking about enforcement?
Yes.
Okay.
This is 100% enforcement.
Okay.
Who's going to be able to leave to go do that? And then again, what court is it going to be processed in? Is it going to be in this court or in town court? All right. Other than that, I think I've hit all my points. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Anyone else in the public wish to speak upon this?
Yeah. Good evening. Tony Cardone, Town of Monroe Supervisor. Good evening, trustees, mayor, council, and village clerk. I'm just here once again to fight for the residents around Monbassia Lake. I know this is a battle that we tried to quell before, and I wish there wouldn't have been the money spent wasting time to pass a law that has to be rescinded. And I'm asking you to work with the residents, not try to steamroll this down their throat again, to try to come up with some sort of negotiations that they can feel comfortable with, so they are able to use the lake. I still cannot figure out what is behind the whole law limiting their use of the lake, because there's no contamination, unless there's something that is not transparent, you know.
Something untoward that maybe we're doing.
Yeah, no. I don't mean in a bad way. I just mean if there's some sort of reasoning.
Right.
Where, I'm not saying there's anything fugazi going on, I'm just saying if there's some sort of
Right.
reasoning that we don't know about, you know, I would hope that would, you know, be something that is justifiable, really, is what I'm saying. And then the other part of it is, so the large parcel that the town owns up there, you know, we have the deed to that, and in the deed from 1921, I think it is, it does give us lake rights, boating rights, fishing rights. So I would hope that you really look into this before anything is done, and, you know, not close the public hearing tonight. Give everyone the opportunity to contribute to some sort of amenable negotiations. That's it. Thank you very much.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, this is Marianne Bischoff, 60 Water Plant Road. So just some questions about the wording of the law. So I went to Catholic school, and we always had to like diagram sentences, and so that's kind of what I'm just breaking down the section 1 of the law and taking out like extra words, because I'm trying to get across how it's confusing to me. It basically says, until such time as the village board adopts regulations related to issuing permits, the said access is going to be governed by permit issued by the Village of Monroe. It just seems circular. So I don't really understand what that means at all. And then there's in there, like, I'm wondering why you didn't, if the intent is to rescind the law, to rescind local law 2, because by our understanding, you didn't have the legal right to implement it because it had to go through the Department of Health first. They had to advance it, then there had to be public comment and a public hearing. So if it's just being rescinded, why doesn't it just say it's being rescinded? Why does it add that until such time as there's a permitting system or recreation is completely not allowed, we're reverting back to a permitting system? I don't know why it talks about potentially eliminating recreational rights. It doesn't seem like a law that simply rescinds something. It seems like there's more to it. And if there's more to it, then doesn't it also have to go to the Department of Health to have it go through? And then if you are voting on this and voting for it, if you can commit to a time frame for the permitting system. Like Everett said, this law's been in effect since 1977. People have been de facto using the lake a lot, and there's been no permits issued. So can you commit to a time frame when that's going to happen, that there would be a permitting system? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak on the matter? Okay. I think what we'll do is we'll keep the public hearing open for 10 days for any written comment. All right? And we'll revisit it after the 10 days on the agenda, and we'll we'll see where we're at.
Mayor, are you saying that are you suggesting you're closing the public hearing and allowing
Written comments.
Okay, that's different than.
All right, my apologies, yes. All right, so I need a motion to close the public hearing, but allow for written comments for the next 10 days on this matter.
Do you plan on answering any of the comments or the questions posed tonight?
Yeah, okay. If you have the questions, I mean, I could go back to there and do a transcription of it, but if you'd like to share what you have, I mean, that would help. I know Everett was not really in favor of you guys sharing your information, but.
Well, I shared it with the clerk.
Oh, you did? Okay, good.
I did, I mean, I didn't pose my questions in there, but I posed them at the microphone.
Okay, yeah, so I'll do that, and then I'll be ready to discuss it at the next meeting on June what, 6th?
6th.
June 6th. Yeah, or before. If I can get it done, I'll get it done before that. So it's mostly regarding, I think, the application, I think is most of your questions, right?
My questions are primarily regarding the grant application and.
And then I want to look at all the deeds and all that language. I've never seen it before. I mean, we've talked about it for months, and I've never seen it till tonight. Well, I haven't even seen it yet, but I suppose it's there. But yeah, I'd like an opportunity for the board to review it, and we will, anybody that had a question tonight, I will work toward giving those answers.
So, I'm sorry, my question and to speak to what you just said was, how come the village has not researched any of the deeds around Monroe Lake?
We've taken most of our legal advice from the history of the cases that have come before the court. And I think there was a 21 case, and there was a 32 appeal, and both decisions very clearly ruled that there was no right, riparian or otherwise, to that lake by anybody but the Village of Monroe. That's where I settled. Now, if a court, I mean, from what we've researched, you said it was a 66 decision.
That was an opinion, correct?
Yeah.
It's not a decision.
I mean, we do have a document, let me just read something to everyone here. This was something that was done by the Town of Monroe attorney back in July of 1997. As your last regular board meeting, you had a large gathering of town residents protesting their treatment by Village of Monroe officials over the use of Monbassia Lake as a recreation source. These residents apparently wanted you, as their elected officials, to lead their fight against the village to enforce what would be essentially private deed rights to the lake. Except for a representation that the town had purchased the Puya property as a water and recreation source, I would have immediately counseled you to stay out of the residents' battle with the village. Having said that, however, due to the town's ownership of approximately 75 acres of land in the vicinity of the lake and a large number of property owners who have confronted you, I thought it best to investigate this matter thoroughly and advise you of the results of this investigation. I think you will find the documents which I have attached here too very interesting and informative. Before I go forward, I must tell you that Jim Sweeney was an invaluable source of historic information which saved me many hours of research. The history of the lake and Monbassia Lake has a long, acrimonious history in the town of Monroe. This history dates back to 3 lawsuits, the earliest which dates back to the 2021, which we just spoke about. The court's decisions in these cases have determined that the village's preeminent right to control the lake and its use to the detriment of the so-called lake right owners, as well as to determine the town's right to take the water from the lake for the town's or for the water district purposes. In 1921, the Village of Monroe instituted 2 lawsuits against the property owners to stop these owners from using the lake for recreational and commercial purposes. In the Village of Monroe versus Benjamin and the Village of Monroe versus Sheeran, the village ordered property owners to cease using the lake for swimming, bathing, canoeing, ice harvesting, etc., because such uses violated health standards for the lake, which was the sole water source for the village. When the property owners refused to comply, the village sought an injunctive relief from the Supreme Court in Orange County. After non-jury trials, the court issued 2 similar decisions adjoining the property owners from using the lake. See Exhibits A and B, and I could, if you don't have them, I'll be happy to share it. But basically, the decisions established that the village was the sole owner of the lake and the lake bed, and that none of the property owners had any rights to the lake whatsoever. These decisions were then appealed by the property owners to the New York State Court of Appeals in a decision that was dated June 2nd, 1932, in Exhibit C. And it was also upheld that the village ownership is complete control over the lake, water, and the underlying. Um,
Are you speaking about Attorney Dowd's letter?
Yeah,
So just to use Mr. Haynes' words moments ago. that's
I may suggest, could she come up to the mic so we can hear her?
well, I'll take a shot at this, and then we'll see what we're going to do.
Well, you just spoke a minute ago, you said that's an opinion, right? So an attorney
You
that,
issued I think you referred to an opinion by Mr. Barone.
I did.
Was that a court decision, or was that a comptroller's opinion? What exactly was that? That's
Well, I
what-
provided it to the clerk, so you could read it, but it was a 1966 decision that has not changed. We followed up on it, and nothing has, contradicted that since 1966. But my point right now to you is that moments ago, you said that that was an opinion. So I'm saying to Mayor Dwyer that what you're speaking about, this letter, which I don't believe you cited the author, is Attorney Dowd, who at the time was the town of Monroe's legal
Yeah.
representation.
Sure.
So this is his opinion, based on facts. I mean, he wasn't
No,
part
no.
of the 1921.
Yeah, this was his letter written to the town officials
Correct.
regarding his research.
Regarding his research.
But
based
his
on-
research is based on 3 cases,
His research is based on 3
and he
cases.
states it in the letter. Now, his interpretation of that is his opinion. Okay, so that's established. We'll go with that.
Well, that's not my argument here. My argument is that those cases that we're basing this on is the Sheeran and the Benjamin cases, which prove that the use of the lake was a nuisance at the time. They were affecting the life and the quality of the lake. So yes, it was ruled that way. It doesn't take away the rights of the homeowners around the lake, though. And I think that the biggest proof here that we presented tonight was the 1955 deed, which is 7 years after your acquisition of the lake, states that the town of Monroe's favor deed still states that they have fishing, boating, swimming, and any other enjoyable right of said lake.
Right.
So it's not unscrupulous realtors. I mean, the west side of the lake, those deeds that I presented before, they're all predating those opinions of Attorney Dowd. So, and again, it's an opinion.
All right, let's forget Attorney Dowd. Blank sheet of paper. Let's forget that. We're talking about court cases in the state Supreme Court of New York State. We're talking about an appeals court in the state of New York. Let's forget who the author of this letter is. That was something that was written by him in trying to answer his town officials, under which he is responsible to give them counsel. So he did, and this is his opinion. But the cases stand. That's the foundation of the matter.
And, Mayor,
That's it.
but the cases, if you read them, very specifically state that there's been no deeds that have been brought forth that show anything contradictory to what they're stating. So we're bringing them forward now to say, we have the deeds from 1921, 1922, 23, 40, 50, 60. They're pertinent to the land. They don't change, they don't come out, they're
Right.
still there. They may not be in the current deed, but if an omission, I mean, as your attorney can tell you, does not mean that you lose your rights. So we still have our literal rights.
Okay, so, as you said, tonight was the first time we're seeing any of this, right? We agree on that, pretty much? Even though we had an opportunity to research it and didn't find it or whatever. So I think we need to be afforded that opportunity to look through them. But these cases were based on evidence that was shown by the lake owners and by the village, and a court ruled in favor of the village back then. That could happen again, so we could take all of that, and then we could go to court and try to figure out this whole thing again. I think one of the interesting pieces is I hear 1988, I've heard that tonight, I think I heard that tonight, I heard 77. But in fact, prior to 77, were there rights that were permitted on that lake prior to 77, to your knowledge?
Well, the deeds that I presented tonight are.
Not the deeds, but do you know of any use that was prior to 1977 that was used? The residents would have used the lake.
Well, they've been using it since.
Before you leave the court case, I just wanted to say, in reading it, it looks like it's saying this is not a precedent-setting case because we didn't get all the deeds from around the lake, and there could be deeds that show that other people have the right. And what was happening at the time was the lake was being abused, people were coming up here, was after the Depression, and it was a different situation than now. So for several reasons, I believe a court would find it's not a precedent-setting case.
And that may be true, okay? I'm not an attorney, I'm not the judge, none of us are. We have to see where all this information takes us. So having this tonight helps us to look at the case, maybe with a new, fresh set of eyes. But when you had first purchased your property, and you said that you had the right to be on the lake, I said to you, come on over, bring it to me, and I'll write it right then and there. You can go on it, right? Didn't I say that?
I don't know if you said that.
I
but
did.
don't think that you can
It's okay.
say that I didn't provide a deed, so that's why you took.
No, I'm not suggesting that. What I'm saying is, having that helps us to understand what we're up against, what we're dealing with,
But saying
what we have
that
to do.
when you have found it prudent to have tried to get the deeds from around the lake, if you're going to make such a sweeping decision to curtail all recreational use. And then I think that the bigger issue for me here is, and this will be my last point because I know I've talked a lot, is if the town has pointed out and the Department of Health has pointed out and Orange County has pointed out, and we will reach out to all those different areas as well to confirm, but you have no enforceability rights. So even if you create this, there's nothing that you can do to enforce it.
And that would be unfortunate.
For who?
Well, for the people that drink the water, or the people that,
But why? What's been proven? Like,
it's not about approving, listen, I'm not gonna go into this.
No, I
What I'm
understand.
trying to say is, if we have no enforcement right, which the town has asserted from, I guess, the beginning on this matter, because it's in town of Monroe, not in the village of Monroe.
that's not why you have no enforceable right. And I know Mr. Haynes spoke to, Attorney Sachs up in the DOH, who informed her of the same, that you have no enforceability right, period. If you refer to that 1960, I'm sorry, are you saying something?
No, that's not actually what he said.
Okay, well, I don't know what he said, but I'm telling you that we spoke with him as well, and he said that the village has no enforceability right at all. That you can only make the referral to the state, and then the state can make the referral to the Orange County Department of Health, and then Orange County.
We're talking about the use?
We're talking about enforcement of your rules, because they're not your rules, they're the state's rules.
Okay, so let's say we argue for our rules to the state, because that's how it has to happen, right? We have to go to the DOH of the state of New York, right? And let's say they rule in our favor.
Why would they, though? What have you given them to prove? Because
Well, we haven't done anything yet. My point is, no, you're missing my point. My point is, you want the use of the lake, right? I'm
I
saying,
want fairness, that's what I want.
well, then give us a chance to go through the homework.
We have, we've
Well,
been in this.
we actually started this whole process, as you mentioned, by a date, when John Carl mentioned to the lake owners at a meeting, and we said, give us 3 years to do our diligence out there with those water chestnuts. We're not even in third year yet. We haven't, and then we said, after that, if there's an opportunity to make you all stewards up there, we'll figure it out. Let's try to work together. That's what was said up there. Allison Priest was there, I don't know who else was there, but there were people there that heard this. Now, whether they want to remember that or not, I remember that. That was very clearly. We made no promises, we made no aficionado things. We talked about boats, we talked about decals, we talked about permits. But that is so much deeper than we're even prepared to discuss right now, including the use of where we would even launch boats. We don't even know that is, because in that document, it talks about 1,000 feet clearance from the inflow of the water. 1,000
Well,
feet.
it talks about that for fishing, not for boating. That's very clear in your code, that it's not.
Well, that may be that may be an interpretation, and I'm willing to go for that, because I don't know who's out there. I'm not talking about the folks that are here tonight. I don't know who's out in that lake. If there is some ascribed use of that lake at some point, we don't know what's going on out there. We don't. We have no enforceability, you just said that. We don't know who's doing what. We don't know how close they are to the inflow. We don't test for biologics.
Your trespassing code, so.
Yeah, but the trespassing code you could do nothing with. If someone means us harm, if something is being done out there that shouldn't be done out there, not a person looking for some sunnies, we don't know what's going on out there. The people in Camp Comfort, they've been here for 90 years out there, whatever, right? They've been enjoying that lake, they've been doing their thing, no problems. And frankly, I don't know about anybody else. I didn't even know anybody was on that lake until I became mayor. Didn't even know it, and I'm here since 1962. Didn't even know it. I didn't even know it basically even existed, to my knowledge. I was told that there was a fence up by Mr. Rivera's property that went from his property all the way down to our gate at our where we get into the gatehouse. Gate's gone. I don't know if the foundations are still there, that.
It's fence.
It was all fenced in, and it was done by one of our trustees and 2 other members of that water department. The fence is gone. I don't know why, but it's gone. So there's a lot of pieces, and like you mentioned, 66, 55, we should play lotto with these numbers. I mean, it's just that the history of this lake, to my purpose, is disgraceful. The whole thing is disgraceful.
So why such a contentious discussion and?
Well, it
such
gets
a rash-
contentious, no, I'll tell you why it gets contentious. For me, it does. I don't know, I'm not going to speak for the board. I'll tell you why for me it does. Because I've spoken to several people that live on that lake, okay? And I made it my mission to make sure that we did what we needed to do. Let us do that work. Have some faith. It was the word I used, actually. And I wasn't afforded that. This is what I've gotten since then. And that's okay, that's my job, I'm the mayor, this is the board, we have a duty to the residents of our village. Nobody here tonight, to my knowledge, is a resident of the village of Monroe. Having said that, we're trying to work through it. But I don't get that impression. I get a lot of angst going on because you don't have access to the lake. I mean, that's really what it boils down to.
I don't think, Mayor, that's the angst. I think the angst is it's just, I'll speak for myself. I feel that the process has been a little disingenuous by the village, mayor and trustees. You've promised us communication, you've promised us feedback, you've promised us answers, you've promised us a collaborative effort, and you have not delivered on any of those things. And we've consistently showed up with questions, concerns, comments, solutions, and we've been met with deaf ears. And you seem like you're interested, and then it doesn't happen. And then when you speak to your grant, there's all these misrepresentations that are put out to the state to get your grant money, and then when it was awarded, the award states that you were awarded it because of the runoff, nothing to do with recreation. So you received the money based on false information. In essence.
All right, that's where we're going to end this meeting for this topic, with you and I. We're not going to discuss it, false information. I don't like the tone. I don't like the idea that maybe we're doing something untoward. That's not going to happen. This board works very hard to these matters. Whether you think so or not, then I'll deal with the grant writer, and I'll deal with council, and I'll deal with the state of New York. I have no problem doing that. If we've done something that, like tonight, we're rescinding a local law, the reason we're doing it is we're told we couldn't have done it.
But you're still embedding language in there that restricts use of the lake. So it seems like it's circumventing the process, right? Because you're rescinding it, but you're not just leaving it at that. You're rescinding it with specific information embedded in there that kind of seems like a way to do what you wanted to do anyway. That's how it seems to us.
Right.
So the contention that you're feeling is because we just feel that there's not a good communication effort between the village and the residents, but you just said don't live in the village, but we care about the lake, and we've consistently showed up and stated that. And then your application also states that the homeowner in that Lakeview property is going to be the steward of the lake. So what makes that person a steward of the lake where we, the residents that live around the lake, cannot be that?
He's the steward of the property. If we didn't have a homeowner out there, I don't know what the heck we would have out there. It's a big parcel of land.
But what does he do? What is he going to do? I mean, he was designated as the steward to enforce it.
And every time there's an issue up at that property, the police department or I get a phone call. So he's done his job, every time. That's all I've asked of him. It's a vast area of almost 18 acres. I don't know what goes on up there. I don't know if the supervisor has any idea what goes on his property on a daily basis, hourly basis. I don't know. No one lives out there. They don't have a police force. They rely on their own staff, I guess, to go up there and check around and whatnot, but we don't know. You all don't know what goes on up there at times.
We don't, but it's not 18 acres of shoreline. It's 18 acres of property, which the village stores their salt storage
No.
machines.
Right,
No,
okay. How would you know that, by the way?
I live nearby. I see them. As I'm
Okay.
driving by,
All
I can
right,
see
you're
through
not
the
on the
trees.
property, you're telling me though, right?
How would I get onto the property?
I don't know. Gates are open.
Why would I get onto the property?
I don't know. Just asking. You said you knew about the kind
I
of equipment that's
drive
out
down
there.
Monbassia and I can
Okay.
see through the trees.
All right, I'm good. Thank you. Appreciate your comments.
Just for reference, around the intakes, fishing or trespassing.
Right.
She said it only, she made the comment that it only pursued.
Okay.
Okay.
Annette Colasso Camito, and I was not going to speak, but this conversation really got me upset. I know that we are talking about recreation, but you guys know, Dwyer, John, very clearly that we, the community, were the one that pointed the fingers about the lake being neglected.
That's correct.
Exactly. So it's not
It's not
just
in
about
dispute.
recreational. We have all the proofs, all the posting, that when the village did nothing, and I know the village talks how precious this water is, but it was not being taken care of. We are the one, the neighbors, who said, guys, Allison came to many meetings. I met Allison through this. So I feel offended that you said that we only care about recreational. That's not true, and it's on the record that it's not true.
Okay, so for the record, that's not true.
That's not true what?
What you just said,
What?
that you think I only believe that.
Okay.
I don't know where that's coming from. Is
I
that,
don't know,
was that
but
a quote
that's the
somewhere?
impression I got.
Well,
from
you
the
can't quote somebody as saying something as an impression of you having something.
You said, I know it's something because
My
you guys
first
are upset because you guys are interested in the recreational. It's okay. I'm glad we clarified. I feel very offended. I feel it's a betrayal to the community after we did everything we did. It's the first time that I feel that a group of people did something awesome for this lake. And then now we are portrayed it like we are contaminating the lake. It's very, very sad. We're supposed to be together. When people get appointed by the people, we're supposed to work with the people, not push the people on the side. Here, for the record.
Just one thing that.
Just give the clerk your name, please.
Oh, sure, sorry. Alex Rivera, 16 Riley Road. One thing and it's just a matter of reference that I can't wrap my head around. This, foundational to all of this is contamination. And I'm just curious, because I have a front row window, to everything. And I don't know how my Sun Dolphin kayak contaminates the lake more than 3 gas and oil operated boats. I see the fumes coming out of the algae killer prevention thing. It looks like a Everglades machine, a helicopter. That smoke's coming out of it. It must be running on gas and oil. And then orange harvester and a yellow harvester. So 3, you know what? You do what you got to do to protect the water, but I don't know how a kayak has been affecting the village people, not the 80s group, but the village people from drinking quality water. So 2 things and I'm done. Evidence that somehow the kayaks affected the quality of the water, and evidence that my Sun Dolphin kayak that I bought on Walmart.com contaminates the lake more than gas-operated boats. And I researched this before I came up here. There's a slither somewhere that says you guys have a unique configuration that compartmentalizes the gas line and all this stuff. I see smoke coming out of that. So there's smoke coming north, there's smoke going south. I just feel that, if you guys show evidence through a third-party agency, objective agency that says, no, Alex, you're wrong. The polyurethane plastic is contaminating it more than these gas, than this unleaded or diesel gas. Fine, I'll live with it. But just today, I haven't read anything that shows it contaminates it. Thank you very much.
Okay, did I have a first and a second on that?
You did. You did.
Oh, we have a first and second to open, not to close. We need to close.
Okay, I just want to say something since you mentioned me personally. You said since Allison Priest, I have worked with you and I have not done anything in these
I didn't say
2
anything.
years to
No, I
do
didn't say,
anything.
listen, I haven't used your name but once. I just mentioned probably something earlier about, we came up, we had you there, you were at the meeting.
That's correct.
That's all I said.
And
But Allison,
Yes.
please, that's all I said. You were at the meeting, were you?
I was.
That's it.
And we agreed
That's
to work
it.
as a unit.
That's it.
That's what we agreed to.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we close this?
Over, can I do one thing? This will be, it's not bad. This is just, it's just photos of Sharon.
Can I have your name,
Oh,
please?
sorry. My name's Jim Sussman. I live at 7 Scenic View, Monroe. It's on the piece of paper I gave as well. It's just photos of like the thousands upon thousands of seeds and garbage that's in Sharon's Cove, if you don't know where Sharon's
On
Cove.
the water?
Yeah, it's on Monbassia Reservoir.
Right.
If you don't know where Sharon's Cove is, we gave you a little map anyhow. But anyway, that's where I took the picture. I had filed this in October as well, as part of like the general discussion about the lake and caring about the lake. It's still there. If you're going to spend money on the harvesters, you're having better off spending them actually picking up the thousands upon thousands of seeds that have piled into the cove. It's probably more efficient and a better use of the money. And one last thing on the money that I'd like, I don't know if it's part of the record or part of the public record or not. Has there been an accounting of the expense that's been spent just on the filing, the refiling, the research, and everything else that's gone into making this amendment There's got to be pretty significant legal expenses you guys are spending on this. You've filed it multiple times. You're spending your time talking with the DOH and other people. Is that really a good, efficient use, ongoing use of village resources? Be my question. So,
Okay.
okay.
Okay. I need a motion to close the public hearing if no one else further. Okay. I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Carl will make that motion.
Ferraro, second.
Call the question.
Berenger, aye.
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Thank you.
That was written comment within 10 days?
Yeah.
I only asked you what
We did. We said it. I said it earlier. I got one nod. Anybody else want to take it up on that?
10 days for written comment, Bill said.
I know you said it earlier, but when you made the motion, it wasn't included in the motion.
Yeah.
I did, and then I stopped myself, and I allowed more people to speak.
My apologies.
So that means that you'll respond within the 10 days or right after the 10 days?
I don't know. It depends where all it takes me. I don't know.
June 10th before, so does that date still stand?
I'm sorry?
Stated June 10th before, does that date still stand?
June 6th is the date of the next meeting.
That's when you'll respond by?
Yeah. Yes.
How will you respond?
Here, in writing.
That
Hang on.
is the date that you left the public hearing open for written comments. You didn't say you were going to respond to all those. written
Well, I'm sure I
At
can.
least I don't think.
Yeah, I'm sure I can.
I didn't hear her.
Okay. By June 6th, you'll have every answer for every question you gave.
By what mechanism?
June 6th.
I didn't ask the date. I said by way of what? Email?
Whatever I can do, I'll make sure you're aware of it. If I can do it in writing or email, I'll make sure the clerk sends it to you. If not, you can come to the meeting. We're glad to have you.
Understand that if you leave the public hearing open as you've done for public comments for another 10 days, you will not be adopting the rescission of the local law tonight. Because you cannot do that until the public hearing is completely closed.
I think we understand that.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
want to make sure,
Yeah.
because it's on the agenda.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, first order of business, just for the record, a roll call. Trustee Berenger?
Berenger's present.
Ferraro, present.
Carl, present.
O'Connor, present.
Dwyer there, so carried. Thank you. Next order of business, department reports. I need a motion to accept the department reports as submitted by the clerk.
Berenger will make the motion.
Ferraro, second.
Discussion.
Yep.
I'm just, on the treasurer's report, street cleaning equipment maintenance, $40,080. Was that the repair of the older
Yes.
sweeper?
The old machine.
Okay,
That was their street sweeper repair.
right, okay.
Well, it was 39 and change. That might have some other,
Yeah, it says $40,080.
okay, and maybe it was a little bit higher.
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Call the question.
Berenger, aye.
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Okay, I need a motion to accept the meeting minutes of May 2nd, 2023.
Carl will make that motion.
O'Connor will second.
Call the question.
Berenger, aye.
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Thank you. Next order of business, termination of probationary appointment, employee 350. Resolved, the Board of Trustees approve the probationary appointment of employee which shall be terminated effective close of business on May 16, 2023. I need a motion.
Ferraro, make the motion.
Second.
O'Connor will second.
Call the question.
Berenger, aye.
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Next order of business, Trustee Berenger.
Be it resolved, the Board of Trustees appoints Natalie Welsh as a part-time dispatcher. All of the necessary paperwork has been completed. Her effective date of hire is May 17th, 2023, at an hourly rate of $23.64 per hour. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Second, please.
Carl will second that.
Call the question.
Berenger, aye.
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye. Natalie, congratulations.
Natalie.
Welcome aboard. Thank you. Okay, did we get any responses, council, regarding the resolution for an audit in New York State? Any of that come up? Have you had anything, any research?
I sent a complete
Yep.
packet of information to,
And so the recommendation is?
well, did everyone have a chance to look at the information I
Yep.
sent from New York State Board of Elections, from the local county Board of Elections?
Yes.
Sure.
All right, so the board has 3 choices. You can move to sign the resolution and send it to the state. You can move to not sign the resolution, thus ending the discussion, or you can table it. I don't see any reason to table it.
No, I feel like we already did that, right?
So someone would, if you want to deal with this issue tonight, then someone needs to make a motion to either sign it or not sign it.
Okay, so in my reading through it, and including all the information you have forwarded on to us, as far as I'm concerned, we're just assigning or affirming that they're legitimate elections. Did you get another flavor for that?
If you send that resolution to the state, you're agreeing with the proposition that the 2020 election was fraught with fraud. If you don't, then you're not signing on to that proposition.
Right. Okay.
So we don't have to make a motion either, right?
Well, you don't, but if you want to put an end to it, you can put an end to it tonight. Otherwise,
Okay, so everybody had an opportunity to read through it?
I did.
You did, right?
Yep.
Okay, so it's a case of affirming that their narrative is a fraud in the elections in the state of New York and across the country, or not, in the 2020 election. I don't know why the board would even want to get involved in that.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything that we need to get involved with.
So,
Just dismiss it.
I think if you want to end the discussion so that you're not faced with this again on June 6th, or from, just make a motion not to accept the resolution. Second it, and then vote on
Trustee Carl?
Well, I read the letters from, the Board of Elections, both state and county. So, they're the stewards of the voter registration rolls, not me. How am I to say what's right or what's wrong?
Or what's legal, what was, what
Yeah,
isn't?
I mean, their letters were pretty clear, and it, came from both,
Right.
both parties up there, both the Democrat and Republican commissioners.
Right.
So, they can move forward with their quest on this on their own. I mean, I don't know why they would need the governing bodies behind them. If they have the goods, present it.
Well, I think it's even bigger than that. I think the bottom line is they're looking to get municipalities, which are governing bodies, to believe in the conspiracy of an election that did or didn't have fraudulent voting. I mean, they've come up with one thing, and the state and federal and the local came up with another. So,
Well, again, I mean, they still they can move forward on their journey to the courts.
Right.
Why do we have to be tied to that?
Right.
Does that make sense, or?
I think it does.
I think it does too.
Okay, so I think we need to vote on this and decide we are or aren't going to sign this document. I need a motion to either sign the document or a motion to not sign the document.
I'll make a motion not to sign the document.
I'll second the motion.
Call the question?
Berenger, wait, so if
This
we're
is
not
not
signing
signing
it, so
it.
then if I don't want us to sign it, I'm saying,
You're agreeing with us.
It's dead.
I'm saying,
You're not signing.
It's dead.
right, so I'm saying nay.
No,
Nay.
I'm saying, you know what I'm saying?
You're saying
Because I feel like it's
yay.
two
They're
negatives.
voting not to sign
sign
Not
it.
to sign it.
Yes.
So the answer is you're saying yes, not
Aye.
to
You want
sign
me
it.
to clarify it? I can say, I need a motion to adopt this.
I don't want to adopt.
No.
Nay.
Nay.
Nay, nay.
Thank you.
Nay,
Nay.
nay,
With the
nay.
two negatives.
Okay,
Okay.
that's just as good, right?
That's just as good.
Probably the way I should have done it to begin with.
We did it.
Okay. So we're gonna need to, I think, either sign this.
Oh, no, you just.
No, you just throw it away.
It's over with.
We're not.
All right, so they're not interested in this one page
It
with them.
won't appear on the agenda again.
Okay.
It should not be put on the agenda.
I mean, as far as the correspondence that we received from Board of Elections, that's public information.
Oh, yes.
So, I mean, we can reference to what was given to us, and, you know, they can foil it and have it for their files.
Right.
Okay. Next order of business is the adoption of local law 4 of 2023, rescinding local law number 2 of 2023. So we're going to table that. Okay? Next,
Until the June 6th meeting.
yeah. Okay, next order of business is the surplusing of equipment in the DPW. Whereas in accordance with the state law requiring that equipment no longer needed by the municipality be sold at fair market value, and whereas the following Department of Public Works equipment is hereby declared surplus to the needs of the village. Now therefore be resolved, the Board of Trustees accept the recommendation of working leader Chiappetta that the following items be placed for sale through Auction International and sold to the highest bidder. Removal from inventory shall be made following the sale of a 2009 F-350 XL Super Duty Salter Airflow Electric Spreader, truck number 10 FWD Plow Truck 1985, truck 11 FWD Plow Truck 1984, leaf machine ODB LCT 650, Ford Tractor 3400 Model 34023C, and Jacobson Turf Cat T 423D. I need a motion.
Carl will make that motion.
O'Connor will second.
Okay, call the question.
Berenger, aye.
Ferraro, I.
Carl, I.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer.
You did say that that would be on Auctions International,
Yes,
correct?
yep.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Just missed that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, next order of business is the moratorium waiver request for 1431 Orange Turnpike. Gentlemen? I'm just going to read something and then, all right? So, the Monroe Woodbury Islamic Center is located at 1431 Orange Turnpike, Monroe, New York, tax map 213-1-3.42. Attorney Dennis Litch, representative of 1431 Orange Turnpike, is specialized in civil rights violations. He sent a letter to Attorney Tahoon and to the board on February 7, 2023, showing that he feels the Monroe Woodbury Islamic Center qualifies for a waiver from the moratorium currently set in place. The local law pertaining to the moratorium does not include freedom of religious practices. The mosque has outgrown their space and would like to expand to accommodate its worshipers. They consider themselves to be good neighbors. There is a pending application to the planning board for an expansion of the current structure. The planning board has shared a letter that serves as the planning board's response concerning the application of the Monroe Woodbury Islamic Center for relief from the development moratorium established in Local Law 7 of 2022. Please.
Good evening, Ryan Nasher from Atzel, Nasher and Ziegler. We are the engineers and the surveyor for this project, Monroe Woodbury Islamic Center. We have the president of the mosque, Mohammed Hassan Mia, sitting in there. Our attorney, Dennis Lynch, who could not attend to the meeting tonight. So we appeared before the board, this board, back in March. We presented our request for the waiver for the moratorium. Then we are referred to the planning board
Right.
to get their opinion, what they think about it. So the meeting, I think it went well. They really look at the positive way, but the problem was that we face is before they make any decision, they have to look at the application package, the site plan, detailed landscaping plan. They couldn't really review the application with the plan. Why? Because there's a moratorium, So they have majority, they voted for a neutral. They couldn't really make a determination yes or no. So we are now back to your board to make a final decision what needed to be done. When I speak to the president of the mosque, they needed the moratorium waiver request because there's a fundraising going on, and you really have to show some progress to the congregation because they're really donating money and there's some repair work and the expansion needed so they could really do the practices, okay? And here we are right now. So we are here to listen. If you have any question, we could answer. And we are requesting for if board could consider the request for the moratorium waiver so we could really move forward. We understand there is a change of the code and the applicant has no problem. It is what has been adopted, revise the plan and follow the code and go back to the planning board for whatever need to be done, going to the agency, required health department approval, DEC approval. They have no problem to follow the code, revise the plan, and move forward. All we are requesting for is just to move forward so people have, the congregation have the relief they could really move forward with the
Sure.
mosque. And Mayor, you know that you went to the mosque
Yes.
and you saw that there's a repair needed to be done. What they're doing now is really putting the money, it's like a Band-Aid,
Yeah,
When you have so much repair to be done, it makes no sense to put the money and then do the repair because, putting the money is like a bottomless basket. It's not
Right.
going anywhere. So we would really request, and if you could consider request and move forward.
okay, I appreciate that, thank you very much. Anyone from the board have any conversation or anything, questions of the engineer or the president at this time? Yeah, okay. Council, do we have anything to,
I would just note that you all have the recommendation from the planning board. I think their recommendation is to really leave it in your hands. The moratorium will expire in June. It's almost moot at this point. The applicant has been advised and has agreed and knows that if the zoning law is changed, even though there's no moratorium in place, they will be subject to the new laws. So, and that's just the way the law works. So, in my opinion, not that you have to take my opinion, but in my opinion, I don't think there's any harm in granting the waiver at this point in time.
okay, so I need a motion to permit the waiver for the Islamic Center,
O'Connor will make the motion.
okay? Second,
Berenger will second.
call the question?
Berenger, aye.
Ferraro, I.
Carl, no.
O'Connor, aye.
And Mayor Dwyer, yes, aye. So,
So the clerk should send a copy of the resolution to the planning board so that they know they can proceed with the application.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I would like an opportunity, if possible, maybe let the planning board do their thing when the time comes or whatever, because you did say maybe there's certain things. We are in discussion about some of the project's aspects, and maybe there would be an opportunity where we could discuss that. Because we're thinking about the house and ways to incorporate the house into the project, and if not, what can we do? So that would be a discussion for another day, but certainly I'd like to have that. I know a couple of my trustees are pretty passionate about it, so I think it would be really great if we could do that.
Absolutely.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your help. Thanks.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Okay, next order of business is the parking kiosk processing rates. Trustee Ferraro and Trustee O'Connor and I had met on April 3rd in our board meeting, and a conversation came up about the fees. So there's actually two pieces to this. First thing is the fees. There's three things: the time, the fees, and the fee to get fees. There's three pieces to this puzzle. So first thing is time. I'd like to just take a roll call. So what do you see as the max allowable time at a spot in our area?
I'm thinking 2 hours.
Okay?
Two, but there should
Be
be an
three if
option for
there's a
the
movie.
third.
Yeah,
But no
three.
more than three. There should be no reason to stay
Okay.
longer than three.
2 hours.
Tops.
I'd say 2 to 3. I can see going up to 3.
Okay?
I think maybe if there's a movie that's a little longer, if there's a kiosk there, but
Yeah.
Well,
I
the
would think
movies,
here
well, the movies theater, the
doesn't
parking
have it.
meters stop before the.
Right, I
before
don't
the
remember
theater.
how far we're going with the meters, but I would think, sorry, here, I feel like here should be 2.
Okay, so I'll give you another tip, just a piece of information, point of information, and I believe this to be true. If you are in a metered spot at 6 o'clock, you're no longer in a metered spot.
Right, it's free.
Right,
It's free.
that's
So if you stay with the 2 hours and maybe grow a problem, so if somebody comes in and says, somebody was under the curling, and, they were getting their hair done, and it's a problem, then maybe there's something we can maybe revisit. But I don't see anything in the Village of Monroe that requires you to have more than 2 hours, do we?
You want to turn those parking spaces over.
No, I agree, but I don't want to upset people either.
Hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my other thought, because I feel like people have now just been parking for a very long time, is they're gonna have to realize when this all happens. I like the convenience of doing it through the phone and all that.
Yeah.
But what's the timeline that we're seeing? And then we talk
The machines are ready.
Okay,
He needs us to give him information about the cost and the hours so that they can software input it. And once that's done, and it's probably in pretty short order, then the machines will be delivered and installed. Then we would put, signage to support locations to and, beginning and ending, wherever that may be, whatever range that may be, and whatever else may be applicable.
We're still leaving the mechanical meters over here on Mill Pond for
Milpont
now.
Parkway, yeah,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
So with the mechanical ones, see, you have the option to run out there and throw another quarter in.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have to make sure that that option is for the kiosks as well. See that, so if somebody's there for 2 hours and they're stuck under the thing, under a hairdryer, or whatever the reason is.
Right.
The lawyer couldn't, you're slowing down or something, you have to be able to, the same option should be given to them, that they have to be able to throw another quarter in to run it for another hour.
That's a good point. Counsel, do you have any thought about that? Is that discriminatory?
I think it's where you park.
This guy didn't think on the thing.
Well, we set in 3 different tables, I guess, is the question? I don't know.
That's what's going to happen.
Get a metered spot and win a prize?
The mechanical ones are 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
But you can throw another quarter,
Yeah.
and another quarter, and another
Right,
quarter.
and well, usually those Munimeters, you can keep paying, but I can't imagine people are gonna keep paying, but is it only a quarter?
Well, we didn't
Unimeters?
get that part yet.
Okay, right,
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get that part.
you know what I'm saying?
No, we're just trying to get past this one, the number,
Right.
total number of
Because
hours.
right now, I think the whole reason the cars are there is because nobody's paying anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt about it. And we'll give proper notification, we'll advertise it, we'll put it on all our platforms, we'll inform the public, we'll put signage up, and maybe we'll even have a week grace. I don't know, maybe the warning cards will go out, I don't know. But, all right, so 2 hours will work right now? Okay, and if somebody has the ability to go out there and put the coins in, those coins should be changed, I think, then, so that rate increases too, when we decide what the rate is. See, right now, they're programmed for a quarter for 2 hours.
Okay.
This here is I think,
And
there's no way to
look at the dollar.
It's a quarter an hour.
Okay.
25 cents an hour.
So, and there's no way to say, I know, and you can only go for 2 hours, because when I've used these kiosks, you can go up to 4 hours, but it's the same rate, whether it's $1 an hour, it's,
Right.
Are you
No,
using
we're-
that?
Don't increase the rate.
No,
We're
no.
not increasing the
Oh,
rate
okay.
after the second hour, third hour, no. We're just saying that with a mechanical device, you could throw, you're running low, so you could run out there and throw another quarter in. So the kiosk has to be, you have to be allowed to do that with the
Yeah,
kiosks.
absolutely.
Yeah, but if you do that, they'll park on the kiosk spot and never move. We don't want that. We want people moving in and out. What Andy's talking about is the metered spots, the mechanical meter, like a gumball machine. Okay.
I understand that. but-
Yeah.
I can't imagine anybody honestly sitting out here more than 2 hours unless they work here. That's just my
Well,
opinion.
that's probably one of the biggest problems we have. I could give you 3 businesses in Monroe that park on Lake Street.
Yeah, I think I know who they are.
Yeah.
But
So,
what you're saying is that no matter what, you only get 2 hours.
Well, that's what we're saying, that's what we're discussing.
So we have to be able to do that with the mechanical.
So Andy's saying if you're gonna do that, how do you deal with the mechanicals?
I don't know the technology
I
for
don't know
those.
that you
It's just,
can.
I don't know if you
I
can.
mean, when
I
I've
don't
done
think
it,
you
I've done it
can.
at the shore. I do it all on an app.
Well, that's for the kiosk.
That's for the kiosk.
Yeah, but I've never seen, I mean, I don't, I've never been in a situation where in a kiosk, I was not allowed to go on my phone and increase the amount of time.
Right.
I think the difference
You're
is,
saying that
yeah.
that the village doesn't want people parking, they want people to move their cars.
Correct.
Then, is there something about the kiosk areas that make it important for those cars not to be sitting there for more than 2 hours?
Limited parking, just, that is big, right here, just limited.
You probably don't
parking.
have 60 parking spots in the downtown business district.
But some of those parking spots are kiosk and some are metered?
Well,
The-
Metered or right here?
Not on Lake Street, right here.
on the
Not
Mill Pond
downtown
Parkway,
business.
Okay.
at a certain point, they start.
After Smithfield Court, from
It's a very small section. I mean, if we needed to, maybe we need to come out. Maybe they need to come out.
Well, I think, look, I think it's not an all or nothing. I think if your purpose is to eventually have it so that in the downtown area, people are not parking more than 2 hours, and that's your goal, then there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, we've moved kiosks, they're gonna be 2 hours, that's it. And eventually, as time goes on, when we replace our mechanical parking meters with kiosks, they'll be the same thing. But until then,
Okay, so we'll have two different.
All right, so the only thing we need to do, though, is we need to find out if the mechanicals can be reprogrammed for 50 cents per hour. And I'm only saying 50, I don't know if the board believes in that, too.
Well, I
We
think
were at
that-
$1 an hour.
That could be
Yeah.
done. Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah,
with the
right.
kiosk.
Yeah, that's easy.
No, agreed, but I'm just saying, I don't know if that, we need to find that out, is my point. I know there's a little bit of an LCD display,
Yeah.
but I don't know if we could do it. It's not the old,
yeah,
yeah, so we gotta make sure, so we need to get to tomorrow, the police department.
Okay.
so you would just increase.
Right, the cost
The cost.
per
to
hour,
use those.
yes. Okay, so that's the fee per hour. So are we on that 50 cents an hour? Okay, so we're at 50 cents an hour,
And we're limiting it to 2 hours.
2-hour max.
Okay.
Okay, now, for someone to use a debit card or a credit card, there's a fee. And that fee, as I read it, from this Heartland Payment Systems, they've offered us in the Village of Monroe, as you're all reading it, an interchange rate of, per transaction of 15 cents, a credit card fee of 25 cents. I don't know what the application fee business is. Service and regulatory, that's on the village. Chargeback fee, I'm looking for, that's all us. I'm looking for the actual fee,
To park?
no,
Transaction
when you
fee.
use it, your
credit
card
card.
or a
When you use
debit
a
card,
credit card.
there's a fee, and I think it's the 15 cents. But I thought it was more, Kim. I thought it was more. I thought it was 35 cents.
What is a voice authorization fee?
I think it's something that we do with the vendor, unrelated to the person parking. Okay, so if somebody takes a parking spot for 2 hours, they pay a fee on that with their card. Per transaction, 15 cents, credit card fee, 25 cents. Okay. So 25 cents, so it would be $1.25. Okay, well, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
Now, the chargeback fee, $25 per dispute, first 3 free.
Well, I guess we're gonna get those, right? We're gonna get, if they have to credit back somebody, they're gonna charge us $25 for that service, if it comes up.
So So the village will get charged for that?
Yeah.
Per transaction or a month?
Per dispute.
Whoa. Over $1?
Yeah,
Well, the first 3 are free,
right.
so it sounds like you're probably gonna get some.
Yeah.
I think they've learned well enough to know that. We've tried to go through our company, which is valued payment system, right? But they don't even do it. They don't support the kiosk, right? Yeah, okay. All right, well,
It is what it is if we're going this route.
yeah.
How long is this, I mean, are they gonna be providing this service for how long?
I think it's an ongoing thing. I don't think there's any contractual obligations.
Okay, because I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, he didn't do one yet, he was waiting to get the fees put in.
We want to know what we're doing first, I think. I'm actually going to try to,
Well, getting back to those chargeback fees, per occurrence, chargeback fees, $25. Per dispute, the first 3 are free. Now, is that per month, or is that annually, or is that forever?
I'm sorry, please repeat
I
that.
think we need to negotiate that. That's a lot of money to give back $1.
No, but it says, just to go over to the miscellaneous side, it says per dispute, first 3 free. Is that per month? Per year? Per ever? I'm not too sure how I'm reading that.
Well, if you guys have any questions and you wanna get them together, you can, if you send me your questions, I will send the questions to him, the gentleman from Hartman, Mark.
Mark Shapiro.
Yeah, and we can get them answered in bulk if you want.
It's copy me on.
All right, I just sent him over a text. I'm hoping that maybe this is his cell number. Let's see if he responds.
Okay.
So why don't we
just table
we'll
this?
table this for a little bit,
Yeah, okay.
okay?
But if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to.
Okay.
You could kneel up here, it says per month, per account.
I think everything is per month, other than where it says per dispute, per transaction, you know what I mean? Per phone authorization. I mean, there'd have to be a blanket fee. I couldn't,
Fees are deducted at the end of the month here. This just does, it leaves per dispute, first 3 free. Okay, for what, per month? That's-
Yeah.
yeah, well, let's hope he gets back to me. All right, okay, next order of business is the request for proposals, RFP on safe structure 13 Lakes Road. I think we had to unravel this a little bit. Council, is there anything you want to add to this or not?
Well,
I'd rather you didn't.
okay, then I won't.
Okay. So, and I say that with all due respect. I'm tired of watching paint dry. I'm sorry to the public for that, saying that, but we've got a blight. We can't get somebody out there. We got somebody get ready to go get it done. It's got to get done. And I'm just amazed at what we're doing here.
You know what my opinion was, but apparently I may be wrong.
Well, why don't you share your opinion with everybody? Because I don't think anybody knows your
No,
opinion.
I
I
sent
do.
this out to everyone.
Yeah. Well, Debbie didn't have a chance to hear it.
And it's confidential.
Okay. Okay. So has everybody read Elisa's opinion?
Yep.
Okay. So let's go right from the beginning. We'll come back, Deb.
Yeah, come back to me, because
Trustee O'Connor, what are your thoughts about going in there or not? Give it some thought. Trustee Carl?
Listen, I'm a fireman here in Monroe. God forbid something happens in that place and we gotta go in there at 2 o'clock in the morning. You think the firemen are gonna know what's going on there? Pitch black dark? I'm concerned about that. And enough's enough. And I think this has been going on since the end of last summer, thereabouts, or maybe September. But I think we need to protect especially our emergency services, our firemen. again, for which I am one. Because I don't want to see somebody go barging in there, not knowing, and fall through that porch or something else happens. It's pretty much been condemned.
What would happen, I'm just curious now that I'm thinking about it, so if the porch were gone, I mean, I know there's other points of entry, but if, let's say we know, like, first of all, nobody occupies the house, it's uninhabitable. Now, when you guys get a call, and it's a fully engulfed, or it is an active fire, your first responsibility is what? What are you assessing, or you're not going in?
Well, it depends. If we don't know that the house...
Would you know that? Is Jim supposed to tell you that, like, as a municipality?
Look, a lot of times,
You don't know?
it doesn't happen.
Okay, but it's supposed to?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, in all my years, we've come up on houses that were abandoned, that we didn't
Right,
know.
Right,
And we've pulled up on houses that had 20 people in them.
right.
It's, you know, again, I had made, I think one of my routine drive-arounds on Highland Avenue, where the front porch is off a house that people are living in, and they got a 2x6 across the door frame. Remember, I took a picture of that, and I think I shared it with you? But people are living in there,
Yeah,
okay? So
Yeah.
you gotta go in through the garage and go get them.
Right.
But, you know, you get over here and, you know, you pull up and somebody says, I think there's somebody in there, there's a homeless person in there. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go try to, you know,
get in there.
save life.
Yeah,
And if that porch is the way it is now, and somebody goes up and climbs over that, I think it's particle board they got up across the front, and goes right through the porch, that's what, 6-foot drop at least?
right.
Somebody's gonna get hurt. So, I think we need to start enforcing. And when there's issues, and we know there's hazards, and it's been brought before this board, we need to act. Think of your emergency services out there.
Okay.
What would also happen
It could be your
if,
police officers, you know, they could be
Yeah,
chasing
yeah.
somebody in there, climb up over that and go right through the,
Right.
what would happen if, let's just say kids were playing? You know, kids are playing hide and seek, I'm just thinking in my head, and somebody went on that porch and something happened. What's our?
The homeowner. We-
Okay.
But no, being notified about the blight, and it's been registered, and we had a due process hearing, and nobody responded, I think it's now on us, incumbent upon us to deal with it.
Did we find them as well? I mean,
They
we
will-
did a due process and we fined. And did we ever receive any payment for that?
No, you're not, you're gonna get it, I'm sure it's on the tax bill if we decide to do whatever, we haven't incurred any costs other than whatever they're doing in court, I don't know.
Okay.
I could ask that question. You don't know, do you?
now, if a contractor goes in there, this is probably an attorney question, if a contractor goes in there to do the work, is he indemnified?
He should have insurance.
Yeah.
He has to have insurance. Gotta make sure of that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's sounding to me like it's a potential emergency, and that means all bets are off.
Right.
yeah.
It is,
Sounds like.
it's in pretty rough shape. I've been around that house a few times looking at it.
Yep.
And will you is the house, other than that, is the house secured, or can people?
I never climbed up on a porch because I wasn't gonna fall through it. Now, they have a piece of plywood across the front of it, but
And then there's an entrance in the back,
I would board that up.
yeah,
While he's at it, I'd have him board up and secure the house.
okay.
Because no point in removing something that looks like it's falling off. Meanwhile, the rest of the house, you don't know what shape it's in.
And make it watertight.
and you can walk right in.
did you have the opportunity to speak with him, or?
Yeah,
All right, did he give you
Ready
the
to go.
number?
he did give me a number, yeah.
8 to
80,
8,500?
something like that, yeah. But he said if it goes the other way,
It's also property
Prevailing.
maintenance.
Yeah.
yeah. So I have a question. All right, so first off, are we in agreement that it needs to be
Yes,
done?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the second question really is then, are there any stipulations we need to know? It is an emergency. Is it going to be prevailing? Not on this, do you think? I know what they said, and I know what you said.
And
Whole big gray area here.
Yeah.
I think it's a gray area.
All right,
NICOM does not. They're very clear about that. I'm surprised. I have not had an opportunity to read the case that they cited.
okay,
I do know it was about dock workers in New York City.
yeah,
Maybe not exactly the same thing. I think the mitigating factor here is that you have a situation where you have a house, it's unsafe, if, you know, the owner is not taking care of that, I think it's an emergency situation, and so that should be part of the resolution. I don't know what the bid is, I don't know, maybe he is paying prevailing wages, I don't really know, I haven't seen the bid.
He's not.
He's not.
And he said if he is, he would have to redo the bid.
Well, what I can understand too is that the village ultimately will be repaid for whatever this costs. So if he redoes the bid for prevailing wage, then, and he does it quickly, then you're more protected. I don't know who's gonna question this, but you never know. But it'll be a 40% increase at least.
Oh, yeah.
45%.
But it has to get done. Right?
And
It
it's
has to
not
be
the
done.
village's fault that that house is in that situation. And it's not the village's fault that.
When did, you said you spoke to him, Mayor, so when would he be able to mobilize and get in there? Either way, if he has
Right
to
away.
redo the bid or do it with the numbers that he...
Yeah, I think he's ready to go. That's the impression he gave me.
All right, my suggestion is you have him turn that bid around, pay prevailing wages, and authorize the work. You can authorize the work tonight based on,
And he's waiting for that answer, so I'll give him that answer right after the meeting.
based on the provision that he provides all the insurance as he would anyway, and that he paid prevailing wage, and that he proved that he's gonna pay,
Wow.
states that he's gonna pay prevailing wage.
So even though it's an emergency, because we're doing it, it's still prevailing wage.
That's a court, you have to pay prevailing wage for public works. This, to me, is a very gray area of whether this is considered a public work.
Could we not pay the prevailing wage and worry about it later? You know,
No.
they'll say, oh, no, you owe them another
No.
30%.
No, it's not about the contractor, it's about someone
the village.
saying that the village of Monroe hired construction workers and failed to pay
I see,
prevailing
okay.
wage.
I got you,
So,
okay.
All right, so then what we're going to do is, we're going to, I need a motion to authorize, we had 3 bids, correct? Right?
I thought you didn't have any bids.
No, we have one.
Well,
I
I
know
know
that
that you called Meridian, he's called Meridian and,
Stevens.
They never came back with a bid. They never sent in.
But for the record, we have them, A. Stevens and,
Yeah, I mean, as long as you went out to bid and tried to get bids.
Right.
And
They
you
did.
only-
Solicited,
you only
nobody
got
come
one
back.
response.
so that needs to be all codified in your minutes, right? Okay. And so I need a motion to authorize a contract with 5 Star? 5 Star? I think it's called?
5-star, Pete, the...
5 Star Construction
The video.
for the purposes of remedying a imminent danger.
Well, I have here, it's for the removal of the unsafe porch and secure the remaining.
There you go.
building.
Okay? Contingent, subject to supplying current and valid insurance, workman's comp, liability, and paying prevailing wage. And we could help if he needs to get those rates. But, yeah. And he'll be certifying a payroll, is what he'll be doing. So, okay. So I need a motion.
Carl will make that.
Carl, make the motion.
Carl,
Trustee
aye.
Berenger, second. Call the question.
Berenger, aye.
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried, thank you. Next order of business is an event application. Okay. So an event application was submitted by Chairman Jerome Goldberg of the Monroe Temple, located at 314 North Main Street, to host a Rosh Hashanah afternoon celebration. The event would take place in the commuter parking lots located on Mill Pond Parkway on Saturday, September 16th, 2023, from 2 to 4 p.m. with setup beginning at 1 p.m. Chairman Goldberg stated that it would be a private gathering for a short religious service for the Jewish New Year, in which a smaller lot would be utilized for parking, and the attendees would be sitting in folding chairs in the larger lot. No streets will need to be closed. The approval and sign-off of the event application has been done by the Building Department, Police Department, and DPW. The Police Department will assign police officers to assist with vehicular and pedestrian traffic during the event. There are no additional costs for additional police protection for this event. Secondarily, Chairman Goldberg was also asked or submitted a request for the $50 application fee be waived due to their tax exempt status. So the first order of business is to resolve the Board of Trustees approve the application submitted by Jerome Goldberg, Chairman of Monroe Temple, located at 314 North Main Street, to host a Rosh Hashanah afternoon celebration on Saturday, September 16th, from 2 to 4 p.m. in the commuter parking lot located on Mill Pond Parkway. I need a motion?
Berenger will make the motion.
Second?
Carl, a second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Berenger, aye.
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. And the next order of business is, I need a motion to waive the fee as they are a nonprofit, tax exempt entity. I need a
Berenger will
mo-
make the motion.
Second?
Carl, a second.
Call the question?
Berenger, aye.
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried, thank you. Okay, next order of business, resolve the Board of Trustees approve the following contractors to be used for the Village of Monroe during the 2023 season to mow these properties that have been not maintained by their owners, whose grass has exceeded the approved height requirement within the village code and have been issued violations from the building department. The contractors are Monroe Landscaping LLC, P.O. Box 211, Harriman, New York, 10926, and Green Meadows Landscaping, Inc., 104 West Oakland Avenue, Oakland, New Jersey, 07436. Be it further resolved, the Board of Trustees approves the 2023 lawn maintenance guidelines and agreement, and hereby authorize each approved contract to sign and adhere to the terms and conditions laid out in the said agreement. So I need a motion.
Berenger will make the motion.
Carl will make or second it for discussion.
Yes.
Are we in the same situation here as we are with the prevailing wages with the other?
This is a contractor to
Mhm.
mow?
Mhm.
I just can't believe that, but
Okay, so I'm going to just amend my resolution here, or actually, terms and conditions. So be it further resolved, the Board of Trustees approve. So in the said agreement, it should include the prevailing, I think we're going to lose them both. One is going to tell me to take a walk, and the other one's going to say, what? I just know they are.
this is just,
Well,
Yeah.
the one I've been doing, he did the Chester Fire District, and I know he was getting prevailing wage there at Green Meadows.
Oh, yeah? Okay, good. So he knows
He
about
doesn't
it.
have it anymore, but he was doing it, and he was getting prevailing wage.
Okay. Okay,
Okay.
all right, so,
he'll have to certify the payroll, though, to make
Yeah.
sure that it's not.
okay, so put that there, and then please advise us that you've done that, and that prevailing wage, there's a rate for that, for lawn maintenance, there is. So I will get with you and we'll get that, okay? And that's gonna be in his agreement, okay?
Both
Okay.
of their agreements, I don't know,
What's that?
in both of their agreements. Now, the other one, he's got a crew that works for him, so he's not independent.
You mean five-star? You mean landscaping or the,
Yeah, Monroe Landscape,
oh, yeah, no, he's got employees,
yeah.
yeah.
But if he was just a sole employee.
I think it would be a little different, maybe.
It's just, there's no real good definition of it. To me, I'm stunned by my discussion with NICOM today. And I asked that specific question. So you hire someone for seasonal mowing and you gotta pay prevailing wage? Yes.
So you're
Absolutely.
you're gonna tell me the town of Monroe Garbage District,
Pays prevailing wage,
they're
so
paying prevailing wage on those guys hanging off the back of the garbage truck?
no wonder they stay on the job. I wouldn't do it.
I find that hard to
February
believe.
22nd, it's raining, snowing, and they're hanging up the back of a truck.
It's like going to an academic and asking them what the law is. Okay, fine, but in practicality, it doesn't make any sense, and people don't end up getting sued. Now, if you went out to bid and you awarded a bid and for a contract, like for Public Works, and then you find out that they're not paying prevailing wage, you know, they could be in trouble, you could be in trouble.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just,
I think this is a better way to go. Just keep it clean.
I'll
Okay.
tell you, when the folks start getting the bills, lean to their property taxes and see, maybe they'll take better care of their property.
Maybe. Yeah.
So, I mean,
Okay.
that's,
So do we
that's.
vote
All
on
right,
it?
just get on me. Right. Okay, so we had a first and a second?
Yep.
Call the question?
Berenger, aye.
Ferraro, I.
Carly?
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Okay, next order of business is the introductory of local law 8 of 2023, amending chapter 43 of the Village Code, Vehicle and Traffic, to provide certain exemptions from prohibiting parking of commercial vehicles in the residential districts and scheduling of the public hearing. Notice of the introduction of local law per chapter 43 of the Village of Monroe, Vehicles and Traffic, to provide certain exemptions from prohibiting parking commercial motor vehicles in residential districts. Be resolved in an introductory local law titled amending chapter 43 of the Village Code, Vehicles and Traffic, to provide certain exemptions from prohibiting parking commercial motor vehicles in residential districts is hereby introduced by Mayor Dwyer before the Board of Trustees of the Village of Monroe, County of Orange, State of New York. And be it further resolved that a copy of the aforesaid proposed local law be laid upon the desk of each member of the Board of Trustees, and be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees shall hold a public hearing on said proposed local law, Village Hall, 7 State Road, Monroe, New York, 7 p.m. on June 6th. And be it further resolved, the village clerk shall publish or cause to be published a public notice in the official newspaper of the Village of Monroe no later than 5 days prior thereto. I need a motion to set the public hearing.
Ferraro, make the motion.
Second?
O'Connor will second.
Call the question?
Berenger, aye.
Ferraro, I.
Carl, I.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Okay, I'm good. I have nothing. Actually, I do have something very important. So, May 28th is the Memorial Day Parade here in the Village of Monroe. There is not a more poignant event here in the village, and each year we have folks that come out in March to observe those that have paid the final measure for their service to this country. And I ask that every resident that gets this show, this theater that we have here at Village Hall, and finds himself on May 28th at 1:30 standing on a curb or marching with us, standing side by side, validating the services that have been provided to us by our nation's military. There is nothing more important on that day. Sunday, May 28th, I ask everybody to come out and support the reasons we're here, the reasons I'm able to speak on this microphone, the reasons we're able to have free discourse as a nation is because of these men and women. And I ask everybody to come out May 28th, 1:30. If you want to march, we're happy to have you. Any clubs, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Daisies, ball teams, baseball, softball, whatever. Well, you coming out, you're acknowledging our heroes, our military heroes. Okay, I appreciate that. That's all I have. Trustee Berenger, anything? Trustee Ferraro? Trustee Carl?
Yes,
Yep.
just a couple of quick things.
Yep.
Rye Hill and Mine Road
Yep.
is becoming, I've been up there twice in the last week and a half with the fire department.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I was heading down Reynolds Road this past Saturday, and I came into that intersection, I stopped, it was clear, I went to go through, and it was a car coming southwest, coming
Up
up
the
Rye
hill.
Hill, up over that knoll, and the grace of God, I slammed my brakes on, and car went right, just kept right on going out of sight.
Sure.
You know, maybe it's time to make that four-way stop sign.
So, let me
Go
over
ahead,
that,
go
yeah.
ahead, go ahead.
So, we did have a study done by Kimley Horn, an engineering traffic firm.
Yep.
And they did recommend a four-way stop. In advance of tonight's meeting, asked for the DPW working leader Aldo Chiappetta to specify some equipment through Kimley Horn. It was specified that 4 36-inch stop signs with LED lights around them be installed, and I also additionally spoke with Kimley Horn, and they recommended 2 stop-aheads, both on the Rye Hill side down the hill and the Rye Hill Road up the hill coming down, for the same purposes, to alert people. And there will also be stop bars painted out, as well as stop-ahead in reflective paint on the streets. So those pieces have been ordered, and they should be here in 2.5 weeks, and he's got the marching orders to get them in.
All right, is it something that we can do by board resolution, add those stop signs to our,
Yeah.
so we should be doing that formally, should we not?
Right now. So I need a motion.
And Carl will make the motion that we take the Mine Road, Rye Hill Road, Reynolds Road intersection and make that a 4-way stop sign.
Berenger will second.
Okay, for discussion, call the question.
Berenger, aye.
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried.
So you'll have the signs put up
Yeah,
and notify, okay.
yeah, so what we'll do is,
Say stop.
we'll have it out there, we'll have the signage out there. There's already been some tree trimming being done. There's some property that belongs to the village, and the village's right away that's also being grabbed and lowered, so that the site clearance from where, say, John was just talking about, looking up the hill, on that side, on the Shea Farm side, that's being lowered. So there's a few things there. The challenge on the knoll, where the car comes up over that Rye Hill, the problem there is that there is infrastructure that's pretty shallow. I think there's a gas line somewhere in
I
there.
think that's how that accident, the last one that I saw.
It could be, but
There's a sewer lift station, there's a couple of things
there's a
in
few
there.
things there. So that's the challenge. There may be an opportunity to take it down 12 inches, but that's a conversation down the road. I think for now, we've got to get the stop signs and the stop ahead, which should be down by
And while we're
that.
on that topic, a little bit up the hill, if we're going up Rye Hill to Stage, and I know you see it, when you go to make the left, that house right there has like shrubbery that you really have to
Right.
keep inching up.
To keep inching, yeah.
Is-
So, yeah, so I did speak to Aldo about it. 2 things I'd like to do. Number 1, get rid of the shrubs.
Yeah,
Get rid of them. And then also, I'd like it to be a T. It's basically a Y.
yeah.
I think it should be a T. I think a lot of things you see in this village, based on history, just in time, that's the way they were. But they shouldn't be anymore. And that should also be considered possibly for
Right.
stop signs. And I'd like the board to consider maybe considering Stage Road one-way, going out of town.
Oh, I don't know.
I think that.
It's brutal now, coming in
Well, I
town.
will say also, I just witnessed on Oakland, as I was coming the one way, a car came up the wrong way and pulled right into their driveway.
White
like
car?
they live there. No, I want to say in the past year, I've seen about 4 cars going. And when I did stop somebody in the middle of the road and said, you know, this is the one way, she told me to mind my business.
Yeah. Well, that's the nature of the beast today. Just for the board, also for knowledge, and I'm sorry to get into your moments there, but I've asked Kimley Horn also to do a study, more concrete study on the Pine Tree, Still, Orange Turnpike Stage. A traffic light is needed, and a realignment to that road somehow is needed. So we're working on that right now. As soon as I have something to share, I'll push it all out to you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
All right, where are we with the water rate study with Natoli?
I think we're close. I think we're there, actually. I think it's just a matter of reviewing it with the board and pulling the trigger.
All right,
Yeah.
because the water districts, we have to give 90 days
90
notice.
days, yep.
So, and we got to start getting revenues here, which brings me to my next.
Well, ask me about that later. I want to tell you about that. Go
All
ahead.
right, the easement agreements for the transmission line, have we got that? I think we've got that.
I'm gonna shoot myself now.
Yeah. Okay, so before you do that,
On O'Rourke, I mean, we had a 3-way.
well,
email.
somehow or another, yeah, so somehow, and I don't know how, I'd love to know how, just because I'd like to know. But somehow, the 4 easements, not 5, but 4, we had SBLs for,
Okay.
and then we got a deed description. One day it just showed up. Did you get a copy of that deed descriptions for each one? No?
Is that for the Nettie property?
Forget the Netty. No, not the Netty and not 5, whatever.
That netting that's a permanent easement.
That's a permanent easement, and so is the other one either. That guy would have
Just
bought that
replace it.
property.
Chad,
Yeah, same thing.
that's also permanent, because John
got to
wasn't
be.
sure.
Well, how could it not be? It's been there since 1947, it's been there since 1894.
So then
And based upon the history of what these folks are talking about,
Well, then it's either an easement of necessity or prescription.
right. But the four that John's referring to, we got descriptions. I thought, last I knew, and if we don't want to go into that nonsense, we could just say that there's descriptions for those 4 parcels on the Monbassia transmission line,
On the bypass.
on the bypass.
Where it has to be moved to a different spot.
That's the bypass,
That's
yes.
the bypass.
So.
They should have, each one has descriptions that were given to us by John O'Rourke. That is, I saw it just the other day, for the first time in my life. And nobody's fessed up.
Well, he sent them to me in November.
Okay,
I
but,
thought.
Everybody
he
got
sent them to you.
okay, well, yeah.
And then he said he sent them to you later when I was
Yeah.
like, where are they? So, but anyway.
I didn't get them, you didn't get them, no.
Are we
So,
all-
but the point is, though, is that we need to embed them into the easement agreement,
They're
the physical,
attached, they're Exhibit A.
each one. So there's 4 things in Exhibit A.
Yes, so easement for Flanagan with Exhibit A meets and bounds for Flanagan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so I had talked to Kim about just create a page that, that's all right, that says Exhibit A, and so the easement itself is the easement that I drafted. Exhibit A, which is the meets and bounds.
okay. So tomorrow, maybe? Okay. You'll get those 4 descriptions?
I'll try.
Okay.
Myself tomorrow.
Oh, then Thursday,
Yeah.
whatever.
I sent out each one with the.
All prepared to go.
Except for a page that says Exhibit A. And
You know what, I
all you
think,
have to do- Yeah, that's all you have to do. Or even just mark Exhibit A on top of it.
you sent that to us, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I did get that, yes. But I just, because now from my email with the engineer, he needs to get those descriptions together, because now he's got to go to the DEC on the wetlands.
Yes, but if he
Show
doesn't
that
have the
descrip-
signed easements from the owners, he can't go to DEC.
That's correct.
That's it.
That's correct. So that's now, so we can't do anything, we can't even put, because I'm asking, we got the specifications put together to get this thing ready so we can get ready to go out to bid with it? This has been kicking around, and it's,
And he's not, what has he said about?
well, no,
Oh.
it's, and then, it was getting all the descriptions, and then he said, well, I gave them to Elise, and then, it would just, but we got them. We need to get it done. We need to put the pen to paper and.
All right, so you have them, you think?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
you should have it too.
Well, I'm sure I do. Now, so,
Is Trustee Carl, are you delivering them and talking to them?
I can do whatever. I'm like a,
They may not just say, sure, no problem.
but the description will include the signature page,
Well, the
the easement
The easement has a signature page. Exhibit A
is in the easement language.
yes.
Yeah.
It's included by
Yeah.
reference as Exhibit A.
All right, so basically what we do is print out the 4 of them, make sure they're complete, and then out you go.
just gotta find the easements right here. You were on that also. What's that? I got May 8th. Yeah, May 8th.
Okay.
All right, so that's that out of the way. I know I spoke to the one guy that's been trying to get a hold of you and me on the LED lights. Where
So, that's with Steve Harriman, me?
No, it was that other guy, Walter Klug. I just sent you some stuff.
I did, but I didn't pay any attention to it, that's a different vendor, right?
Yeah, he's selling lights, and he says the other stuff, yeah, read the email,
Okay.
and.
Well, the other guy's planning an airline flight down here.
When, is he bringing everything with him, his crew and everything?
He's bringing his,
He started this last year, too.
yeah. So, all right, let me read Klug's stuff.
Yeah, I sent it to you.
I saw it, but I ignored it because I thought that we were,
No, I forwarded it to you.
Okay.
So that's that, LED. One Stage Road, I see they got the bushes out. Any update on the project over
I
there?
don't have anything, you? All right, so we need to send out a letter for an update? Okay.
Okay. That should be it for me for now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, trustee O'Connor?
The only thing I had was Debbie and I had met with the chief 3 times
Uh-huh.
to discuss his salary negotiations.
Okay, so
we'll have that.
We'll have that.
That's it.
That's an executive, that'd be attorney,
Yep.
yep, okay, good. All right, good. All right, so I think, counsel, you have anything?
No.
Okay. Public comment, anyone from the public wish to speak? Please, come on up, give your name to the clerk and address the board, thank you.
Simon Jacobowitz, President at WC Lincoln. I have sent already an email regarding the demolition application I gave for the building inspector.
Sure.
I CC'd everyone, and I'm still waiting on a response on that.
From the building inspector?
Oh, I'm still waiting a response from the village board.
The village engineer,
Village board.
needs to go into the Ross
Yeah.
Smith property.
Correct. So
Yeah.
I'm waiting. I have contacted Kim a few times this week.
Okay,
Friday.
what would you like?
On
What are you
coordination.
waiting on?
The village.
I thought we were waiting on you for some reason.
Oh, okay, that was probably a mistake. I think that the temporary amended Chapter 80 actually says very clear that the trustees have the right to impose that the.
Yeah, and we're on the same
should
page.
come.
Yes.
Exactly, so.
No, we're on the same page. What I'm saying is,
Waiting, and
Okay.
there's no response. I've been calling today, Friday, a few
Okay.
times.
all right, the last I read, and I apologize if there's more dialogue here, but last I read was you acknowledge the fact that we can go in, you'd want to be there.
It's straight, it's.
Yeah, and I get it.
Black and white.
I know, but sometimes I know, sometimes I'm a little gray. I'm sorry. I'm a little colorblind. But I think more importantly, is there anything on dates that you'd like to share with us so that we can maybe start to formulate something? Do you want us to give you dates?
I assume that's on the engineer,
Okay.
when he's available.
Okay,
And his insurance information and stuff, because the building is not safe, and I just want to make sure that
sure. Okay.
it's covered properly.
Okay, so let me address this just simply by saying I'm going to speak with the engineer, I'm going to put dates on it, and then we're going to, in writing, respond to you and let you know, these are the dates we can do it. Are you available? Because I know you want to be on site.
That's it.
And we'll supply all documentation, insurance you need, and then when we agree on a date, we're going to go in.
Okay, so you'll reply in that chain, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Okay. I'm sorry?
The public comment, the one,
Yes. You'll enter that?
everyone has it.
Okay.
Boy, it's hot in here.
It's very hot.
Hang on one second, please.
You have it, Ann?
No.
This one?
Okay, just enter into the minutes. Those could just be entered into the minutes. This is from a gentleman, Michael Horning. I have a public question regarding tomorrow's meeting, as I can't make it in person, but we'll watch the recorded version, unless you prefer to answer it by via email ahead of time. With the anticipated vote on Local Law 7, I was just curious, who is defined as the Village of Monroe's water superintendent? On your website, you list water as being under the DPW, but don't list the superintendent, only a water plant operator. So the simple answer there is that we don't have a superintendent, we have a water plant operator.
Right. So
Okay.
it's really getting at to the question, who's going to be issuing these permits using the
Okay, all right, well, let's enter this into the minutes as this question, and we'll have to formulate a response. Thanks, you could push it out that way, thank you.
Well, you don't have to, you can just say that right now there is no water superintendent.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I need a motion to go into attorney-client for the purpose of personnel and litigation.
Berenger will make the motion.
Carl will second.
Call the question?
Berenger, aye.
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
O'Connor, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Sir, are you here from Woodbury?